What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 1 of Bringing Back the Old School. This video series is going to be me documenting my journey of my summertime cut and my pursuit to getting as close as I possibly can to old school bodybuilding aesthetics. So look, I've been a fan of old school bodybuilding since I started lifting weights. I've always felt that the way the old school bodybuilders looked and also approached bodybuilding and just life in general is how bodybuilding should be approached. Now, I have no disrespect for people who love modern bodybuilding and people who take that approach. I personally just resonate a lot more with the more artistic, spiritual approach to bodybuilding that the guys in the 70s and 80s used to take. To them, the training, the posing, everything about the lifestyle was an artistic expression. And now I honestly just think the approach of modern bodybuilding has lost that true expression side of things. It's no longer an art form as much as it is a science and a sport. And science is definitely involved in this, and science will greatly aid in your overall journey in building aesthetics. And we're gonna talk about that throughout this video and throughout this series. But you cannot lose the artistic side of things. And I think that with modern bodybuilding, it's only the science that guides everything. The artistic expression, the most important side of bodybuilding has been lost. The science is just to help us maneuver and make progress quicker. It's not everything. And I feel like in modern bodybuilding, science has kind of become everything, and we've lost that true artistic expression. So my goal with this cut in this video series is to blend the two together and to show you how you can blend the artistic expression, the passion, the lifestyle of old school bodybuilding with the modern science, and let the parameters of modern science about nutrition and training guide you in your journey, so that way you can make progress quicker and ultimately reach your desired goal. So with that said, in this specific video, I'm going to be taking you guys through my day and sharing with y'all the do's and don'ts about starting a cut. Something about getting in cold water that sucks, but is so worth it every single time. I'm fucking shivering. It's funny how when you're really cold, all you can think about is getting warm. And that's why I love starting the day with it, because you're not worried about little stressors. You're not worried about the work you have to do that day. All you're thinking about is getting warm. And I think anything that's really uncomfortable and challenging kind of yields that same result, where you just are focused on your present moment and focused on facing the challenge at hand. And that's why I love doing the cold plunges in the morning, or just starting the day with something challenging in general. It isn't always a cold plunge, but getting something relatively challenging done earlier in the day is very, very beneficial for me. I'm going to go ahead and do 6 ounces of 93.7 ground beef. I don't normally cook all of my meals fresh. Today I'm just unprepared and I haven't made the time to meal prep yet. So I'm just gonna cook this pre-workout meal fresh. I already have the rice cooked, so I just need to cook the beef, which won't take long. I'm gonna season it here with this Kinder seasoning, caramelized onion butter. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried this before, you're losing out. Also, I've got a hack for you guys that is going to make your rice way more enjoyable. So, if you see, this is jasmine rice right here, but it's got almost like a brown tint to it. And that's because I actually cooked it in beef broth. So rather than using water in the pot, I used beef broth. And it is an absolute game changer. That right there makes me want to eat rice more than ever before, and I already love rice. So if you already love rice, you want to make the experience that much tastier, cook it in beef broth. And if you don't like rice, and you're like, I just can't eat rice, try cooking it in beef broth and thank me later. So before I dive into this meal, I want to talk about don't number 1 of starting a cut. So the first don't that I want you guys to really understand is that you don't want to cut carbs out of your diet or slash your calories too dramatically. As a coach, I've seen and heard so many people do this, and what happens is they lose a lot of weight really quickly. They also lose a ton of muscle mass, and then their fat loss plateaus, and they have nowhere to go from there. They can't really pull away more calories. There's no more carbs left in the diet, so they try to increase the cardio to a crazy amount, which doesn't work, and they're kind of stuck and plateaued, and they end up putting the weight back on. In the past, golden era bodybuilders would make the same mistakes before a competition. They would cut carbs completely from their diet and unknowingly put themselves in a huge calorie deficit, and come competition time, they ended up softer with less muscle fullness than they hoped for.
Until the 81 Olympia, I was all meat and water and really low carbs. It wasn't until 81 I go, okay, I gotta come into my own. I need carbs for the fullness. And I realized after spending a great deal of time with the great Mike Menser, he was a friend of mine also, taught me a lot. And he said, you need carbs. As long as you limit your calories and eat the carbs, you can maintain the fullness that you need, Tom. I'm like, I gotta do something different. I knew that I had to do something different. So I tried it. And I was eating 300 grams of carbs in 81, thinking, oh my God, I can't get in shape eating 300 grams of carbs. But you know what? 6 weeks before the show, I'm like big and full and strong and striated and in shape. I'm like, I can do this.
So you see, some of them intuitively just learned that they actually need carbohydrates and they don't need to be in a huge calorie deficit to actually burn fat. What you want to actually do to lose body fat sustainably and maintain your muscle mass is, rather than going to a 750 to 1,000 calorie deficit by cutting carbs completely from your diet, what you should do instead is be in about a 500 calorie deficit when starting your cut. So how exactly do you do that? Well, there's a few ways you can do it. You can do it by purely cutting out calories from your diet, primarily from carbohydrates and fat. You really don't want to take away protein, regardless of the dieting phase you're in. So you cut away carbs, you cut away fats, and you take a total of 500 calories. Or you could also take the route of decreasing maybe 300 calories and adding in 90 to 120 minutes of steady state cardio a week to get you around that 500 calorie deficit. So here's an example of exactly what I mean. So in my personal journey right now, I just ended my muscle gaining phase, or what most people would call a bulk, at 3,200 calories. And to start off this fat loss phase, I'm starting at 2,700 calories. So I didn't actually add any cardio in there. All I did was decrease 500 calories. And I did that through mostly carbohydrates, but also some fats. And then when I hit a plateau from this current deficit, which will happen, I can add in post-workout cardio to increase my daily calorie expenditure, or I could simply decrease calories again. So there's many ways that I can go about it, and I'm really looking forward to documenting this process with you guys. But ultimately, the main takeaway here is that I don't want you guys to start your cut in a huge calorie deficit and remove carbs from your diet. Keep the carbs in your diet, go into about a 500 calorie deficit, and you'll start to lose fat at a sustainable rate. So when you live in San Diego, there are a few things that are just necessities to have in life. One of them is a longboard. Because sometimes, especially in Pacific Beach, you gotta park far away from where you're trying to go. And so having this longboard makes it easier for me to get where I'm going, and it's also just funner to ride the longboard places. Warming up for leg day. Today's gonna be a quad focused leg day, so I'm actually not doing any hamstrings, it's just quads. My quads are arguably the most hyper responding muscle group I have. So like if I train my legs really, really hard, specifically my quads, they'll really get out of proportion to my upper body. So I have to control the volume and intensity of my leg training to prevent the overdevelopment of my quads, because I want a nice balanced physique. I don't want my quads to overpower my upper body. When you're doing compound movements and you're rushing between set to set, you're robbing yourself of a lot of gains. You should be giving yourself at least 2 or 3 minutes minimum between sets of heavy compound exercises. So the goal is not just to get the workout done as quickly as possible. The goal is to make each set as effective as possible. And so right now my heart rate is up. I can tell by the way I'm breathing that I still haven't recovered all the way from my previous set. And so when we're trying to take a set as far as possible and bring the muscle as close to failure as possible, we can't let our cardiovascular systems be a factor. Now, this doesn't mean to waste a bunch of time, lose focus, and just play on your phone and forget what you're about to do and why you're here in the first place. But it does mean to give yourself some time and really make sure you're making the most of each rep and each set. All right, here's the post-workout pump. Honestly, this lighting is so good. It's a little misleading. It's pretty fucking ridiculous, this lighting. So I'm getting my post-workout activity on the beach today. I'm gonna be walking for a while, and then I'm gonna meet a friend a little further down, and we're gonna either throw some frisbee or go surfing. But the water is really cold today, and I don't have my wetsuit, so I don't think surf is really the best idea, but I know he has an extra board, and ultimately, it's not hard to pressure me to go surfing, even if I don't have my wetsuit. So before I actually meet up with my friend and throw the frisbee or do whatever the heck we're gonna do for the rest of the day, I wanna talk to y'all about the second do's and don'ts in this video, and this one is going to be about training. So what you don't want to do when starting a cut is change the way that you train. Specifically, you don't want to do high reps and low weight, and you don't want to add in more volume and drop sets and supersets just because you're cutting. This is a common mistake that a lot of people make. For whatever reason, high reps and low weight is correlated in people's minds to fat loss and toning the muscle, but the reality is that isn't the truth. If you want to have a toned, firm physique, it actually is going to come from building muscle and maintaining it while losing body fat. That's going to give you that toned, ripped look. It's not doing higher reps and lower weight. And then in regards to doing more volume to get cut, that also simply isn't true. What's going to happen is you're going to start overtraining. You're going to be in a calorie deficit, you're going to add more stimulus than you're already doing, and as a result, you're going to be overtraining and under recovering. This is actually something that they used to do back in the golden era.
Remember, in my days, we were not as sophisticated when it comes to dieting, and we didn't have the food supplements that are available today with getting definition and cutting down and all those things. We had food supplements that were really good for gaining weight, but we didn't really have much available to lose weight. So to me, my way of really getting defined, if I do instead of 20 sets, 30 sets, 35 sets a body part. So I went all out, especially before competition when I wanted to cut down. It was to pile on as many sets as possible.
Now, obviously, Arnold and all of the guys from the golden era looked great. But the reality is, for one, you don't have their genetics, I don't have their genetics. And for two, they were enhanced. We know they were on anabolics. They all openly and admittedly talked about it. So that does play a little bit of a factor in this whole equation, right? If you are natural 9 months out of the year and then for 3 months during your prep, like they would do, they would hop on anabolics. So your recovery is going to be enhanced. So by adding in more volume through more intensity techniques and drop sets and supersets and things like that, they were actually just burning more calories through their workouts, but they were actually still able to recover because they were taking high quality legal steroids back then. And so if you're like me and you're doing this naturally and you don't want to go the route of anabolics, but you still want that old school physique, what you have to do is actually keep training around the same volume that you currently are and try to maintain as much intensity and as much strength through your workouts as possible. The goal should be to minimize the strength loss, because if you minimize the strength loss throughout your entire cutting phase, you're also going to minimize the muscle tissue loss, which is going to make your look that much better when you're lean. That's also going to make fat loss that much easier. Right, so Perry forgot the damn frisbee. I don't know who thought, we both got frisbees and we both thought we would have the frisbees. What's up with that, bro?
Honestly, bro, I was counting on you.
I know what you guys are probably thinking. Y'all are probably thinking, Drew, are you and your friend really longboarding the boardwalk barefooted? And to that, the answer is yes. All right, so Perry went inside to grab the Frisbee, and while I wait for him, I just wanted to talk about how freaking grateful I am to live the life that I'm living. There was a point in time when this was all literally just a dream to me. Training close to the beach, living by the beach, having awesome friends like Perry. Come in here, Perry. I'm just talking about how grateful I am for life and fitness and just living out the dream.
Yes, sir. Every day.
I'll put Perry's Instagram right here or down in the description. But yeah, guys, there was a point in time where this was literally a dream. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine a few days ago, and he said, at the end of it, he said, keep chasing that dream. It was a friend from back home. And it took me a minute, and I thought about it. I was like, holy shit, I'm no longer chasing the dream. I'm fucking living it. Sure, I don't have millions of subscribers on YouTube and millions of followers on Instagram and millions of dollars in the bank account and millions of lives changed. I don't have those things yet, but I am actively living the dream. I'm changing people's lives through fitness. I have an impact on social media, and I'm just living this life every single day. I'm bodybuilding, I'm going to the beach, I'm fucking doing whatever I want, and it's fucking awesome. And there was a point in time where all of this was just a dream. So if you have a dream, no matter what it may be, whatever your vision is for yourself, pursue it. Pursue it with all of your might. Perry, he's not from here. He's from Florida. Perry came out here from Florida, which is also a beach town, but totally different vibes, totally different atmosphere. And so what do you have to say about pursuing your dreams and just living out the vision, right? What do you have to say about that, Perry?
Man, you can't be in a state of chasing and having at the same time.
Whoa!
So if you are continually, odds are you might be right now the person that you dream about wanting to be.
It's not about the outcomes. Like I said, it's not about the millions of followers. It's not about the millions of dollars or the millions of lives changed. It's about taking the actions and being that person that you want to be every single day and presently doing it and living it and being fulfilled in it. Then the vision that you have for yourself will just naturally happen. Life will just happen for you when you live that way. All the dreams that you have will manifest in one way, shape, or form. But until you stop chasing, which I was actively chasing, until you stop chasing and start actually just living, you'll never achieve those goals. So I'm fucking grateful. We're about to go throw some Frisbee, get some cardio in, do some sprints. Let's go. Throw it. Uh-oh. Oh, I hope that was on camera. Hope the mic's okay. That's pretty embarrassing. Uphill sprint. Not that much of a sprint. Ready to have a killer day today?
Amazing day.
Let's do it. All right, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, but if you made it this far into the video, I'm assuming that you did, so go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss this series or any future content that I put out. And also, if you're interested in working with me as your one-on-one fitness coach and you want to join the Timeless Aesthetics coaching program, you can click the link down in the description to apply for the program. And if it seems like we'll be a good fit to work together, I'll reach out to you within 24 hours. And if you want to follow myself and my friend Perry on Instagram, I'll go ahead and link our Instagrams down in the description so you can follow us there. And until the next time, guys, keep pushing, keep persevering, and keep it positive.